A lot of funded accounts today. Okay, I get it. Not just my bias, it was me, 100%. Tilt all day, 100%, no fun. I blew a couple of Take Profit Trader Pro accounts, funded Next funded accounts, and funding Ticks funded accounts all today, all by itself. So in total, that red is 22,000, which obviously isn't a lot on a month like this, but it is a lot because it blows a lot of this progress. It blows the payout from that progress, right? So obviously I still have other accounts, evals and funded accounts, which is great, but let's be honest, it sucks. So I'm going to just spend a couple minutes kind of going over what happened, what I did, what I need to work on, what I learned from it. Hopefully I'm learning, because gosh, it's just no fun when you let you down, right? When there's no one else to blame but you. So obviously, as we know, the market gapped up on Sunday. We know that there's tech things going on. We have a meeting with China. You know, we can pull this up here in a second, but seriously, like, that's it. It was Sunday night. So market gapped up almost 1%, 180 ticks, 100 and almost 200 ticks in total. This is a little off from where we have it marked up. Like, it was huge. Honestly, this is an hourly chart, so this is clean. Like, the market gave a bajillion opportunities to buy today. It gave you a bajillion entries. I mean, almost anybody's model, if your model is halfway reasonable, gave you 100 entries. I know mine did. However, I did not follow any of my own model, my own entries, my own strategies to just go where the market was going. Instead, I let my bias take control. I kept looking for the short. And to be transparent, I started my problem not today, but I started it on Sunday. I was done with cooking. I'm reorganizing the office. I'm doing all the things. House is all nice and put together. I was like, cool, I'm going to check the market, and it gapped. Cool. Nice wake up. I was looking for the sells down. I literally was up, if I could talk, literally was up, what, 300, one of the accounts up $400, okay? And again, I was under risking because of the size of this gap. We knew the ATR, the trading range, the volume, the momentum was huge. So I wasn't going in with minis, at least not originally. I was by the time we got over here. I'll talk about that in a second. So either way, micro is cool. I'm up nearly $400, caught some great entries in here and in here, and did not close. Again, came down, I scaled into it further, did not close. Don't ask me why, just didn't close. It didn't protect it. I was looking for the larger move. At one point, if I went back and actually checked it all, I was up nearly, 40, 50 points on some of these trades. It was insane for me not to close, right? Not to trim off of some, right? Something. Some level of which should have taken place but didn't, because my bias was taking over my entire brain. And there's just no other explanation. There's no other excuse. Like, I can put back on the indicators or whatever else, but we already know JGS, multiple moving averages. Think like the 8 and the 20, the 8 and the 50, the 9 and the 50, for example. I've been liking mostly the 8 and the 20, but that's another topic for another time. Dear Diary, here's where we're at. We're on the 5-minute time frame. I've been really trying to focus on the 5-minute time frame. By the time we got in here and we retested, this was everything I needed to know. By the time we got back above, I should have known, and again, I ended up staying up way too late. I should have known, like, we were above. I had every reason to exit and not kind of chase this market. But that's not the worst part. So I closed, technically I didn't close any of this until after midnight Eastern Standard Time. That was stupid. That was a waste of my time, my energy, and of course, my money. Having said that, all of my losses are on today, being Monday, for like, whatever, for this. So I didn't really close anything there. Cool. Here's where we're at. Now comes into Monday. Again, here's New York open. What does the market do at open? It wicks up, it wicks down, wicks back down, up, down, and then it just edges up all day long. This entire time, there were 100 opportunities to buy. But again, not knowing what you don't know, I know that there's a lot of things going on that says, hey, investors are just looking for a reason to buy. And hey, there's, we got the Mag 7 earnings reports this week and blah, 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 blah. And there's going to be tariff talks, which is going to help with the Chinese market, blah, blah, blah. Either way, this is like a 500-point move to the upside, none of which did I capitalize on. And again, I'm a big believer in opportunity cost. Like, that's a big concept in which kind of the way I try to live my life, as well as the way I try to trade. Not only did I lose 22,000, obviously in a lot of funded accounts, but also I missed out on the 20,000, right? So that's a $40,000 difference. Like, if you're looking at the, actual full cost of the decisions you make. So I'm making this video really to hold myself accountable, to show the good with the bad. It's no secret, I've never really been one for prop firms. I like to manual trading my own funds, which is limiting to some extent because you're not trading with as much capital, right? In general. But at the same time, you don't have the same amount of rules and hoops to jump through and all the little things that you have to go through to get to, quote, payouts, right? either way, I spent a lot of this year kind of getting used to the different platforms, getting used to copy trading, trying out a lot of different web services, and then Replicanto, affordable trading tools from NinjaTrader, and just really trying to make all of this work in a big basket kind of way. So overall, doing pretty good, up nearly, 400K. Well, it was a 400K. Then of course, there's a couple months earlier in the year where I'm copy trading. Both months were completely bleeding red. But in general, not every month is perfect. Look at how many red days, but overall, that's 64,000 on that month. So that's not bad, right? August, again, a little bit more green than red, 71,000 on that month. And again, the amount of accounts here vary. July, 56,000 on that month, right? There's a lot of red days here, some bigger ones too. You could almost rest assured that any ones that are kind of near that 20,000 mark, you blew some accounts on those days. There's just almost no way, well, depending on what your loss limit is and how much of a buffer. There are exceptions, but either way, let's talk about it. Again, my model gave me a bajillion entries. So looking at what I did, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Because we can say my bias did it. We can say it's all Trump's fault. We can say it's because of China. We can say it's because of earnings reports. But in general, I broke my own rules, and that's how I went on tilt, and that's why I chased the wrong direction. But the things particularly I did was my bias outweighed my model, and that is the stupidest place to be. And that's something I've been working on quite a bit, especially coming from this kind of swing trade intraday background where I was right, literally documented, provable 90-some-odd% of the time. So high 80s, low 80s, low 90s, and I've got like a long time, like 5-7 year track record saying that's what I average. I can trust my bias, right? That's not the same here in futures. It's not the same here in kind of this scalping, the rules, the holding, the overnight, all the things that go into this side of trading. So it really has no point. My bias has 0% value compared to my job is to follow my model. My model gave me many buy entries, whether it was a breakout trade, whether it was a JGS entry, whether it was a flag retest, whether it was momentum. It doesn't matter which any of my levels, as we bounced off of the 50% levels a whole bunch of times, mostly the micro moves, not the major. Obviously, we never came back into 50% of Friday's trading action, 50% of the gap, 50% of overnight action we didn't even come back into. Maybe we did while I was sleeping, I guess, more accurately. But we kept these micro moves, on the other hand, we kept failing to kind of close below any, measured move, like think 61%, 50%, the entire time up. So we had every model that you can think of, all the, over excessive amount of information we know was telling us to buy. And I let my bias outweigh every bit of knowledge I have. So that's the first thing I did wrong. The second thing I did wrong, I think when I think about this, I was obviously chasing the easy money, because in my mind, I'm thinking, look, I get this one move, I hit my 1,500, my 2,000, one of the accounts I was looking for 35. It's a bigger account, had a bigger buffer. It was 150K past challenge with pro account with take profit trader. So I had plenty in there to kind of make that move. Either way, I'm looking for this bigger move, and that would have been easier here than, because there's so much room, right? There's just so much. So I'm looking for the bigger move versus I'm going to take the 20 points, 10 points, 5 points, 10 points, 20 points over and over again. So I think a big part of it also is just chasing the easy money or the perceived easy money. And because I was doing that, I wasn't looking for that solid, constant 10 points, which I think is one of the easiest ways to not only pass the prop firm challenges, but also get a payout. I think that's the most success I've had thus far, is just sticking to the, hey, bare minimum, I take my entry, I close out of at least 10 points of that, 10, 5, 10, 20, depending on what the ATR is at the time. I close out of that, and then I can let the rest run if I want. But honestly, that's the most success I've had thus far. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, again, looking for that larger move, which it's all kind of goes hand in hand. But because I was not capitalizing on that smaller move, and I was only interested in the longer move, I didn't see the potential in this move up, which, again, I don't know how many points that is, but let's just measure for the sake. That's 30 points. This move up, that's, again, 30 points. This move up, that's 20 points. And, well, way more, but I'm just lowballing it here. Nice little retest. That's 30 points. Over and over again. Okay, even if I had taken this and took a loss, any of these entries were fantastic to go get my 10, 20, 30 points. Any of these. Well, this one would have been a little shy, and then you kind of consolidate right before New York Open. This would have been choppy for sure. But, man, easy, right? Easy to just follow your model and say, here's your 10, 20 points. Because once you kind of get the clear breakout, you actually close above the 5-minute New York range. This is the 5-minute. You actually close above. These wick below, but they don't close. This closes above. Now we retest back into 50% of the range, back into that moving average, anywhere in this, whether it's right above that candle, or of course wait for that later, more confirmed entry. And again, you got your 10 points, your 30 points, your whatever points, over and over again. Over and over again. Too easy, right? But I was only looking for this move that I was perceiving to be 50, 100, 200 point potential. Because remember, we still hadn't closed the gap from the previous day, the overnight gap, the regular trading gap. So that bias, man, it really did. And looking for that bigger move was what made me, yeah, pretty please do what I'm trying to make you do. Please? Maybe, baby. Oh, I broke it. Well, I just deleted number 3, but that was looking for the larger move. So number 4, we'll just pretend like this isn't numbered. I failed to lock in my 10 to 20 points. And you can see how correlated this all is. I mean, I numbered them 1 through 4 because they are technically separate things. I mean, we can label it greed, we can label it anger. You know, Jared, whatever his name is, who wrote the book, one of the books about trading, he talks about how different those emotions are, which is true, but these are all different functions that I kind of malfunctioned in, right? My performance was not up to my standards for stupid reasons, right? And that last one is, I thought about this again a couple weeks ago, and I took a couple of losses. I had a red Thursday for class trades, at least. I ended up making up for it at the end of the day. Like, so our class trades, I took a red day, just I couldn't get on the right side. But every trade that we looked at moved nearly 20 points, took 3 entries, and none of them did I protect that 20 points, which was stupid, right? It's stupid. I think, again, the lesson that I'm going to kind of take away from this is obviously my model needs to outweigh any opinion, anything else, okay? We can't predict the news. We know this, sell the, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. We already know all those tried and true things. We know that Trump is a market mover. We already know China's going to make this, and earnings reports could do a lot of things, but sometimes it does nothing, right? That's stuff that's outside of our control. NFP is going to do some things a lot of times, CPI, some things a lot of times, but some days it's a non-starter. And that's all stuff out of our control. So the part that is in our control is to follow our model regardless of our bias, and anything else is to follow the model. And sometimes, like take CPI on Friday, it didn't give because of where CPI hit. I mean, we wicked down and it was a beautiful trade. It was a really easy, clean trading day. Again, buys all day. Anybody who's trying to fill this gap to the downside obviously just didn't come down at all. Like, we came down to 50% of that news move, but we stayed up all day. Never came down to fill that overnight gap either. Some days that's just how it is. So the biggest takeaway, follow the model regardless of the circumstances, number 1. Number 2, chasing that easy perceived money is a good way to blow accounts. Number 3, I am done looking for larger move. If I want that larger move, I've got long-term portfolios. I've got more swing trade accounts like personal funds, but I can't keep trying to put that on the prop firms, because whereas sometimes it happened to be where you entered at the right time. The candle, the price action was smooth. There were no pullbacks. You didn't get knocked out on a wick by a tick. That's going to happen sometimes, but the vast majority of the times I can catch a really healthy 10, 20 point move a couple of times and be done on the day in minutes, versus the insane amount of hours that I spent actively on my computer, kind of fiddling around, cleaning up, doing my little girly beauty things, and then just wasting time. And that's what I spent a lot of today doing, also just wasting time. So chasing the easy money, gotta go. I'm done looking for the larger moves, gotta go. And last but not least, I'm gonna update my settings again for Tradeovate, because right now my ATM settings only obviously work if I'm not mirroring on Tradeovate. And today, go figure, I was mirroring on Tradeovate versus on NinjaTrader, mostly because I was testing out the new features and affordable trading tools before I really linked all the accounts again. I try to do that pretty well, because I know how malfunctiony that stuff can be. So I wasn't using NinjaTrader's copier. I was using the group copy modes on each individual Tradeovate account, which again was just excessive risk, overtrading, unnecessary, which also meant I had a stop loss and a take profit, which I kept adjusting and adding to, but I didn't have those same kind of settings, which would have just automatically kind of trailed me out a little bit of some of the position, and then locked position, and then kind of capitalized on the rest. I didn't have any of that. So moving forward, I am going to make sure I have my trailing stuff in, and I kind of check those settings again, especially with the ATR, which I'm sure is going to be large tomorrow as well. We'll see what happens overnight and this week with the earnings reports. Plus side, we made a video on Friday just kind of talking about how we did, which was, of course, nice to end the week so green, 70K on the week. But I said, look, we've got price point that we're going to be targeting is going to be 25.50s. Man, we hit that. We hit that actually for CPI on Friday. That was clean. It was smooth. We literally came, we can't see that price right now. We hit that easily on Friday. So that, I'm going to have to, it's not going to let me because of where I'm sharing on my screen. But this price point where we hit is 25.50s all the way up in here. We hit it perfectly. Of course, as of right now, at the time of this recording, we hit the 26,000s, and now we will see. So new day tomorrow, new challenges to kind of go and rebuild up, and that's what I've got. So if you like this content and this kind of transparency, please make sure you like, subscribe, and do all the things that help us get these videos in front of more people. And thank you for following along on the good, the bad, and the ugly of all this trading journey. And today was just a not as productive or good as performance as I want it to be, but that's part of the process. And cheers to the next one. That's all I've got, folks. Have a great day. Wish me luck tomorrow. Take care, and God bless.